see that I'm running out. 1 second.
No problem. Great. So welcome everyone today to this meeting of the Inclusion and Resilience branch, the last meeting of the year, which feels very strange to say. Today, Danny is going to be chatting to us about the community builders and the amazing work that the community builders have been doing in the city. And it's going to be a really informal session, so she's literally just going to have a chat with us. Then there'll be space for questions. If we wrap up early, no one is going to be grumpy to have more time in their day, so there's no pressure on anyone. If we do run that long, we do normally ask that at 11:15, which is halfway through our session, people get given 5 minutes for a break just to have a cup of tea or up to the loo or whatever that is required. So we'll take it as it comes. So because we're quite a small meeting, do you think it would be all right if everyone introduced themselves just to give people a sense of who's in the room? So I'm Nica.Cornell. I'm a project officer for Changing Futures Plymouth. Well, you would think that I could say that without stumbling. I'm a project officer for Changing Futures Plymouth, and we work to support adults who are multiply disadvantaged, and I'm currently the branch lead for inclusion and resilience for the trauma network as well. Scott, do you mind just introducing yourself?
Yes, I do. Good morning, all. I'm Scott Wiltshire. I'm from the Royal Navy and work as a part of the Royal Navy Family and People Support, sort of an internal support system, essentially for service people, in particular Royal Navy, but we do sometimes support, say, for example, Army. When they're either they are struggling, finding difficulties, whether that be in the workplace or social environment, or indeed they're sort of in scope immediate families. So we kind of look to support in those times of adversity. I'm sorry I haven't got my screen on. It's not because I'm being ignorant. I'm plugged into this docking station and it messes with my computer. So I haven't got a pretty face anyway. So you're probably better off just.
No problem at all. You're most welcome, Scott. Tracy.
Hello, yes, I'm Tracy Stimpson. I'm the mental health and disability community builder. So Danny is going to be talking all about the community builder, so I won't go into that too much, but yeah, my role is citywide rather than geographical, and at the moment I'm involved with the Plymouth Mental Health Collective, and our next meeting January the 29th. So there is an invite that will be going out on Eventbrite later. Yeah, sort of heavily involved with Padan at the moment, St Luke's, their Compassionate Schools and Compassionate Cafe programme. And yeah, lots of little projects along on the side and going into next year.
Lovely. You're welcome, Tracy. Nice to have you with us. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Trainer. I'm an expert by experience lead for I'm employed by Devon Partnership Trust, but my role is across the whole county of Devon, and that includes Plymouth. And I've just been really impressed by this trauma-informed network and what I get on emails, and the kind of dip in to these meetings when I can. So my role is to make sure that people with lived experience are part of designing mental health services across the County of Devon. I have lived experience myself as well, and I work with, as well as Devon Partnership Trust, I work with Live Well and also the Devon Mental Health Alliance, that includes Improving Lives Plymouth and Devon Mind, as well as other charities across Devon. So yeah, it's great to be here today.
Lovely. And it's Sarah, not Sarah, is
Sarah,
that right?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies for pronouncing that wrong. Danny is going to introduce herself in a second, so I'll skip her for just for 1 second and go straight to Emma.
Hello everyone. Sorry, my camera's off because I'm just eating breakfast. My name's Emma and I also work for the Changing Futures programme. It's nice to see you all.
Lovely. And we have a long, as I mentioned before, we're recording because we have a long list of people who can't always make the sessions, but really enjoy watching it afterwards. I often get feedback from people who've seen the videos on our YouTube, which is great. So yeah, just keeping that in mind for today. And then I will, with no further ado, hand over to Danni.
Hello, hi everyone. It's lovely to meet you all this morning. So it's just going to be me presenting this morning. Isata is unfortunately unwell, so I'm going to kind of focus on my work as the Family Hubs community builder. So if you don't know anything about community builders, I feel like you probably do if Tracy's coming to the meeting. But we essentially are a group of 14 community builders that are employed by Four Greens Community Trust. However, we work all across the city in different areas and with different communities of interest. So if you have a look on the Four Greens website, and I can always put the link in the chat, we have a community builders page which shows you where each of us work and what communities we work with. So some of us are citywide. So like myself, I am a Family Hubs community builder, which means that I'm working citywide across all of the Plymouth Family Hubs, but also I'm looking at who isn't engaging with those family hubs and finding out ways that we can bring them into the family hubs. We also have a men's community builder, a LGBTQ community builder. Of course, we have Tracy, our mental health and disability lead. Isata, who is going to be here today. She is doing two jobs. She does half of hers is a Stonehouse community builder. So she is in a geographical area, but she is also the diversity lead for the city. So they go really hand in hand for her. I do have a really short presentation where I have basically just photo dumped, so you've got something nice to look at whilst I chat at you, basically. But if anybody would also like to ask questions, I'm more than happy for you to just kind of shout out. It can be really informal. So I'll just pop up the presentation. Now, I am terrible at using Teams and sharing, so please tell me if you can't see anything.
No, that looks great.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, we
I'm
can see it.
just waiting for my mouse to load a little bit. It's not letting me put it on full screen at the minute. Oh, there we go. There we are. Lovely. So, as I said, I'm Danielle. I am the Family Hubs community builder. So, what that kind of means is that I like to say that I've got 1 foot in the community builders team and 1 foot in the Family Hubs team, and then I'm kind of like a bridge between the two. So a little bit about Family Hubs, if you don't already know. Plymouth Family Hubs runs across the city. We have what will be 11 family hubs, as we've just added an 11th. It was going to be 10 family hubs across the city that would be open by March 2025. However, we have been doing some consultation with communities in Stonehouse, and I must say, I don't know how confirmed it is. So I might be confirming something that's not quite ready to be confirmed. But a little intel is that there is consultation going on in Stonehouse, and we are looking at Manor Street being our 11th family hub, which is really exciting. If you have a look at the map here, it shows you where all of our family hubs are. So we've got number 1 is Southway. Number 2 is Four Greens in Whitley. Number 3 is Four Woods in Crown Hill. Number 4 is The Barn in Barnbarton. Number 5 is North Prospect. That one's not quite open yet. Number 6 is Morristown. Number 7 is Greenhark in Devonport. Number 8 is Manor Street in Stonehouse. Number 9 is Nomini in Catdown. Number 10 is Efford. And number 11 is the Reece Centre in Plimpton. So we've got quite a large stretch across the city, and my kind of job is to be inside the family hubs discussing with the teams what they're finding out, also discussing with parents who go in there what what is it that they're looking for? What is it that brings them to the family hubs, to make sure that we can do more of that? Because something about community builders is that we use ABCD, which is asset-based community development. So we're always starting with the positives and what's there and what's the assets. And I know that's really big in trauma-informed work as well. So you can see here, we have also some community events that we partner with. So we have just been to the Men's Health Awareness Day, which was put on by our men's community builder, Martin. And we held like a big family area to ensure that all families felt welcome at that day, because I think a lot of the time if you are saying men's, then immediately you think women aren't allowed in that space. But we wanted to make sure that dads could come with their children, bring daughters along. We had a lovely dad that came along with his twin daughters, and they had the best time. And then we've also got a new initiative about to start, which I have been working on with BCHA. And essentially, I went and had a chat with the temporary accommodations families team, and we were discussing kind of the types of families they're seeing. What is it that those families could really use that actually isn't about kind of funding and about, we know that they are in a really difficult position, and what is it that we can bring to them that isn't about giving them money or a house? What could we do to help them in this process whilst they are waiting for permanent accommodation? So we're starting a drop-in on the 12th of December. So 2 members of the BCHA team and myself will be going down to the OYO Hotel, where a lot of families stay. They've got lots of different accommodation across the city. So we're going to trial this in the OYO Hotel, seeing as it's quite central in Plymouth. We're going to make it a bit Christmassy. We're going to take mince pies and hot chocolate, and they have a little sofa there and a little kitchen, and we are just going to have a little drop-in, very relaxed, very casual, for the families that are there to come and chat to us. We can signpost them to free activities, free events that are going on in the city. Family hubs have so many different programs and so many free events going on, and sometimes it is just the case of people not knowing where they are. This actually came about because during that conversation that I had with them, Jordan, one of the BCHA team, had said that she was on the phone with a mum a few weeks back who had got into a permanent accommodation, and she was saying, that is incredible. You should feel so achieved. That is an amazing achievement. And all this mum could think about was, yeah, that's amazing, but I can't help but think, what has the last 6 months done to my daughter? And what has that experience of being in that temporary accommodation done to her development? So one of the things that family hubs do is we run parenting courses, and we run lots of brain development courses. And one of the ones that I facilitate is called Building Babies' Brains. It's absolutely wonderful program that actually it takes it's nothing new. We're very honest about it, that it's not a new program and we're not telling you new things, but what we've done is we've taken things from different programs. So Trauma Informed is one of them, taken ideas and models that we think actually really helps parents to understand how to help your baby's brain develop, and Trauma Informed is such a good example of that. You know, having empathy is one of the best things we can do for our children as they grow up. So when I heard that this mum was worried about her daughter's development, I really wanted to have these sorts of drop-ins where parents could come with those sorts of concerns, and we can discuss actually that it's not about what that length of time did. It's about the repairing and it's about the recovery, and we can absolutely support our children to do that. So there's so many things such as, and I know it comes up in Trauma Informed, such as positive stress that children go through, and I think a lot of parents need to know that actually a stressful time isn't the be all and end all, and if we support them through it, then they will absolutely thrive, and they'll gain that resilience. Oh, it's not letting me move. There we go. Another thing that I do is go out to a lot of community events. So this is an amazing tool essentially for meeting people where they are at, not just going in with an agenda. So I go in, I enjoy myself, as you can see in these photos. I get thoroughly involved in whatever the event is. And a lot of the cultural events that I go to, it's about giving someone the time to get to know them and their culture before you kind of come in with whatever your thing is. So that's what I mean by not going in with an agenda. And a lot of the time I will meet families at these events, and if I don't go in shouting about family hubs, I can guarantee it, the family will ask something, or we'll say, oh, you know, we're really struggling with this, or do you know where I can learn about, you know, healthy foods, healthy cooking? You know, do you know where I can get free baby supplies? You know, I'm running low. And so often those sorts of concerns will come up because we've got to know each other, and they've kind of felt a bit of trust in me, and then I am able to really signpost them to the things that actually they need, rather than going, here's every offer that we have and it's very overwhelming, and then likely they'll probably just chuck it in their bag and forget. Instead, it can be really like targeted support, and I find that really useful. Another thing that I do is I run the Family Hub's Parent Carer Panel. So we meet monthly, and we started off at the very start of last year. I'd been doing some consultation in the family hubs around the parent carer panel, trying to gauge interest and see kind of how do we need to hold this session? How do we make it accessible for parents with young children to come into this session, and it not feel like a talk shop, and it not feel like we're kind of taking their ideas and then going, okay, bye. So we did a lot of consultation. We then did a really large launch event at Plymouth Methodist Central Hall, where we had the soft plate open. We invited parents along. We did some just very light consultation with the parents, let them know that this was going to start happening every month, and kind of gauge some feedback. We started a mailing list, which I called the Helping Hands. So essentially, I wanted to make sure that parents who didn't feel that they could commit to a monthly panel, or didn't feel like that was actually the right way for them to get involved, that they had levels of engagement that they could get involved with. And it meant that also a parent who feels really keen to get involved in an in-person panel for a couple months then doesn't feel like they have to quit. They can just go down a level. So our levels include just keeping in touch, which is where I let our helping hands know if there are events going on in their area, if there's free opportunities, if there's funding available to families that they might be interested in, anything really that comes into my inbox that I think would be useful, I send on to them. And then we have our I'm interested in local opportunities, so that will again be a bit more targeted. They fill out a form when they come onto the mailing list, so that I know what their postcode is, and I can see kind of where they are in Plymouth, and be able to say, oh, your local family hub is doing this today, and let them know a bit more targeted. We then have our I'm interested in citywide opportunities. So that's where our panel comes into it, and they'll be invited, and a lot of them are into our panel WhatsApp group as well, where I let them know when the next session is. After a session, I'll send them kind of any notes or any art that we've made. I'll send them pictures of that, and kind of really shout about what the great work is that they do. So this was a really interactive session. You can see in these photos. This was when we invited Action for Children in, and they did a Building Babies' Brains session. So there's a shorter version of the course called the Brain Architecture Game. And essentially what these parents are doing in these photos is they are building a brain, and it might not look like it from pipe cleaners and straws, but it's a tool to help parents to understand how quickly a baby's brain is developing. And even when some forms of trauma happen, it doesn't mean that the whole brain falls down. It just means that maybe that part of the brain's a bit heavier, and we build it a bit stronger. And it's a really it's a really beautiful metaphor, and we hope to be able to do more of these sessions in the future. And then I've just got our poster here for our next panel, which we are doing straight after a stay and play in Green Arc. So what we've found is that parents don't particularly like to have a crash that's away from the panel. They like the children to be in with them playing. We chat whilst the children are playing, so they don't have to worry about how the children are getting on. They can just focus on them. We obviously always have to do free snacks, free refreshments. Absolutely, is always a win. Food and drink, always a win. We have a theme of the month so that families know if they have a particular interest, they know what's coming up, so they're not coming in blind. So this month, this Friday, we are going to have a premiere of our new Family Hubs videos, which some of our families also star in, which is really exciting. It's always free, and we've added an incentive as well of a £10 gift card for each family that attends, so that they are being paid for their time and shown that their time is really valuable. So if anybody knows any families who might be interested, I can also send this poster along, but we'd really love to get plenty of families there, especially as this is our last one before Christmas and we're premiering these videos. It's like a really nice relaxed session that parents can come into. And then lastly, young people. So this is something that I am really keen to do more work in, because I've been a Family Hubs community builder for just over a year now. So a lot of the work has been in our earlier stages, and a lot with the parents, but I'm really keen to work more with young people. And one of the initiatives we are working on at the minute is we are working on some appreciative inquiry in Stonehouse, and I'm working with our young persons community builder, Emmy, to gather feedback from young people on what is it like to live in Stonehouse, what do they love about it, what might they like to see change, and would they be interested in getting involved in helping make that change as well. So we're really excited about that. These surveys launched just last week, and we are sending them to services and key workers who are working with young people, because initially we would like to start it by having key workers help young people to do the surveys, and then we can invite young people to what we hope to be a young person's making sense session, which is where we get all of these stories back that these young people have sent us. What do they love about Stonehouse? What do they want changed? And we kind of get it all out on a table, and we're going to get young people to help us in a focus group figure out, right, what is it? What are the key themes coming out here? What is it that actually young people are asking for? And how do we make it happen? So I'm really excited about that for next year. So again, if anybody works with young people and would be able to share this far and wide, we really appreciate the help, so I can send these as well. But yeah, that is kind of a really quick kind of whistle-stop tour of Family Hubs and community building. But yeah, happy to answer any questions at all.
Thank you so much, Danny. That was really helpful, even just for me, because I feel like I hear people talk about community builders all the time. And And that's obviously a good sign. That means that your guys' work is reaching people, but it's fantastic to have a more tangible and kind of layered understanding of what you do, just because it means my brain's immediately going like, oh, I should put Danny in touch with this person because they could do this. And like, you know, like those kind of connections. So that was really, really helpful. I really appreciate it. Yeah, opening the space to any questions. There's no pressure on anyone, but if you have any comments, you have any questions, just to pick up on Sarah's comment from the chat, she's put that the levels of engagement on the panel sound really interesting. And I think I definitely agree with that. I think having multiple ways for people to engage is so critical, and having it not be rigid or be another thing in people's lives that is happening in a really strict or formal or even like disciplined way, having it be something that people can go, oh, well, actually this week I just feel like doing it this way, but maybe next week I'll be able to step into a bit more engagement. I think that sounds amazing. Sarah, do you want to, oh, Scott, sorry, do you want to come in?
Oh yeah,
I don't mind. Was I before you, Sarah, or after? I don't mind. I really don't.
Yeah, you go for it, Scott.
All right, okay. Danielle, I know you mentioned BCHA, and I just wanted to know a bit, but I recognise you don't obviously work for them. Is that like a housing charity, is it?
It is. It's I have to remember. Bournemouth Churches Housing Association. I do so many anagrams that I forget what they all are. Yeah, Bournemouth Churches Housing Association, and they are funding the temporary accommodations team, families team, to do their work. And the families team are about 8 of them. Which actually surprised me, because I'm so used to those teams being so ridiculously small, way smaller than they need to be. So it's quite a nice surprise that actually there's about 8 of them working in Plymouth. They're based up in Mutley, and they kind of hold, and I might be not quite right on the details here, but they kind of hold all of the temporary accommodation venues, so OEO Hotel being one of them, across the city. But yes, I remember I went to meet them the other week, and they were like, "It's Bournemouth, but we are Plymouth. We are in Plymouth."
Yeah, that's what confused me when I put BCH in, and then I was thinking, oh, it says Bournemouth. So
Yeah.
But without going too deep into my line of work, I suppose. But so I am currently supporting a family where it's been a breakdown of relationship in terms of their service. This is a service family, and as a result of that, the separation, the spouse and children are losing entitlement to their service family accommodation. Which sounds very draconian, but that is the current rules and policies and stuff around it. And essentially, they are going. The legal process is happening in terms of repossession of that house. Now, the time frame is yet to be kind of determined on it, but she's quite conscious about what it really looks like moving on. Do you think that BCHA might be able to sort of help me with that understanding, and it might give her some options to be thinking about around that?
Definitely. I definitely can put you in touch with someone there. I must say, I just send them my questions as well.
Yeah. Okay.
It's such a huge kind of minefield, isn't it? Temporary accommodation. So yeah, I'm honestly more than happy. I'll take your email, and I'll put you in touch with someone.
Well, that brings me on to my second point, in that I am actually working at Stonehouse. Now, a lot of the service people, I don't think there's very many service family accommodations around Stonehouse, if memory recalls. You know, we're out in Crown Hill and Plymstock and Plimsoll, and but happy if you want to pass on that poster for the the feedback for children under 16. So can you see my email details from my actual profile on here or not?
No, so Scott, if you just pop your email in the chat, or if you're not comfortable doing that, you can email it to me and I'll pass it on to Danny, whichever one.
Yeah, I'm happy to put it in the chat, honestly. Thanks.
Amazing. That would be great, Scott. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, did you want to come in?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was interested. Well, yeah, thank you, Danielle. It was really interested interesting to hear of your work. And I was really interested in what you were saying. Before you set up the panel, you did quite a lot of consultation, and just be interested to hear a bit more about that, because that sounds like a great way of going about it.
Yeah, so I started back in November last year, so I really am like just a year in, and one of my main objectives was to set up this parent carer panel. And luckily, when I started, a lot of the family hubs were being launched, so I just thought, why waste that opportunity where loads of families are going to be in one space in the family hubs and not just chat? And it wasn't anything very formal. It was super informal, because I just think it's better with families if it's super informal. So it was a case of literally I just went around and I chatted, and I took a little register with me, so that if people, once I kind of chatted to them and just said, like, look, I'm looking at setting this up, would that be something you're interested in, or what would make you interested in something like that? You know, I'm thinking maybe it looks like something like this, but I'm not sure, and kind of just came at it in that way, and people were really really happy to help and interested to hear more. And I think a really important thing was to highlight that this feeds directly into the family hubs. This feeds into our executive group. All of what they say and what they want changed, or what they love, or what they want done, that feeds directly into those groups. So I think that was a really helpful tool as well, to kind of get that engagement from people, to be like, oh, what I'm saying actually matters. I'm not just coming and telling you a couple of things and then going home. So that's always been an important thing for me as well. So that actually, through that consultation and realizing that, actually helped form the panel, because now whenever we have a panel, at the start of each session, I feed back on the last session on, this is what we said, this is where it's gone, this is where we're at with doing what you've kind of suggested, and always having that feedback as well. I just think that's so important.
Yeah, it really is. That sounds great. Yeah, really, really good, and a great opportunity. It sounds like you kind of spotted an opportunity to kind of like, oh, these family hubs are starting up. Wouldn't it be great to get a panel together of people to kind of help inform, you know, how they grow and improve, and that feedback loop? Yeah, that sounds really great, because sometimes, I guess in some of the work I do, that's the aspiration, and sometimes things take quite a long time, and then it feels like a long time to feedback, or things get lost, and it's just like, it's just not what we want to happen. So the idea of feeding back every month, I think that sounds brilliant.
It holds you accountable, I think, because I'm the same. You get so snowballed with everything that it's really hard, and I'm just really honest with them as well, because they, like, things do take way longer than a month. So I just am really honest and say, this is as far as we've got with it, we're waiting on this, you know, and just really honestly explain the process of, so it doesn't feel like they've kind of suggested this really lovely golden nugget and then we've gone, oh, that's great. We'll put it back there.
No, that's great. Thank you. That's given me a really lovely idea for something that we're due to set up. Like that idea of kind of feeding back every month. I really love that. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. And Danni, what I was thinking as well is, with your young people's flyer, we can send that out because I always, straight after this meeting, I will send out the transcript of this meeting to the whole Inclusion and Resilience branch, as well as letting people know the video is going to go on the YouTube. So if you'd like, if you send me the flyer, we can send the flyer out with that, because I'm sure there are many people on our list who actually would be able to link you up with young people in Stonehouse, which would be fantastic.
That would be absolutely amazing. I'll send those over. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And also, I think the other thing that I was thinking of, and this is, just feel free to say no, but this is how my brain works as well. So it like makes all these connections that are really lateral. But one of the things we did last year, and Emma will be able to speak to this as well, is we did a process called journey mapping, where we mapped people's experience with services throughout their journey in the city. And we did 40 maps, and about 5 of those were specifically with families. And we did that with BCHA as a partner. So we actually, and it's obviously been anonymized, so it's safe for me to share with you. It's obviously not revealing any names or anything like that. But I think there are really interesting insight, and they surfaced really fascinating learnings by having a range of professionals who had worked with the same family in a room, talking to each other at the same time, especially having that face-to-face. So our first sessions are always face-to-face. And it was fascinating, you know, with some of the journey maps, we really found that people would say, I've been working with them for 10 years. I didn't know that. Like, you know, you'd have these links being made in the room. So if you're at all interested, and really no pressure, I'd be happy to share those with you just for your learning about families in temporary accommodation, because it's a specific area of work that we do.
I would absolutely love that. Please send that over.
Cool, I will do. Sarah.
Yeah, just to say, I'd love to see that as well, if you're happy to share it, Nica. And I think, yeah, that sounds really valuable. And it reminds me of something that's being trialled in Torbay, and actually is a kind of a national trial of something called open dialogue, where it's essentially the person brings into a meeting whoever they want, and it can be family members and any kind of professionals, so everybody is there and hears what that person needs, and the conversation is kind of focused around them, or they drive it, and because otherwise it's kind of like this professional over here, this professional over here, and yeah, the kind of the person kind of their experiences are kind of fragmented in a way, and kind of driven by people who only see kind of one part of it. So anyway, yeah, just that sounds a really really interesting exercise. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was a fascinating process, and we've been trying to teach other organizations to do it. So if you're interested in it,
Yes.
I'm really happy to have a chat with anyone in the space one-on-one, and we've got some resources we can share on how you do that process. Because we're trying to embed it in the city. We're not precious about it. We're not like, oh, this is our special exclusive process. Like, that's not the idea. The idea is very much that as many people as possible do it. So I'd be happy to link up with you, Sarah. That would be great.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love that. Thank you, to see if we can kind of do something similar across the rest of Devon. Yeah, that would be
excellent.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Do you mind popping your email in the chat for me, just because then I can get in touch?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. This is kind of my favorite part of what Inclusion and Resilience branch meetings are like, is that even when we're a small group, the quality of the connections that form is really, really valuable. So unless there are any other questions or comments for today, and there's absolutely space for that, I just want to give a big thank you to Danni, and also say that your presentation was great. I know you thought you just photo dumped, but actually I thought it was a really engaging presentation. So don't worry about that at all. But yeah, any final comments, and then we will wrap up. Emma.
It's not really a question, just a comment, but I was just going to say, yeah, it was great to hear about the work of family hubs, and it's another one of those, like I always hear about family hubs and community builders all the time, and it was great to like hear from you, Danni, about all your work, and also that map showing all the areas you're based. I didn't realise how many different parts of Plymouth you were all embedded in. I thought it was great. And the panel, I liked the way you've made like the panel really accessible, like people being able to bring their children. And yeah, because I feel like often processes like that, like the asset-based community development approaches, can often exclude people who may not be able to attend things like that. So I think it's great that you've seemed to have thought about the accessibility really well.
Oh yeah, I should have probably said as well, we started off the panels, we kind of did like a bit of a tour of different venues in Plymouth to kind of see what venue felt right, which was great, because not only were we choosing a venue with the panel, and they chose which which one worked for them, but also they then were able to see other, so a lot of them were like, we were going to family hubs and we kind of worked out which ones worked on bus routes and things. And then we went to Ernest English House as well, and they learnt about improving lives and things. So that was a really fun exercise as well that we got to do. So yeah, that kind of helped, I think, with like the accessibility of it.
And that's an amazing concept in terms of sharing power as well, to actually be saying to people, instead of you setting the venue and you setting the terms of engagement, saying to people, we want your input on what kind of space we use. I think that you're setting a really equitable power base from the beginning then. So yeah, I just think more evidence of the fantastic work that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Lovely. Well, it's been a shorter meeting today, but I don't feel like it's been any less valuable or any less enriching. I will follow up with those contacts, and I will get the journey maps over to Sarah and Danny, and set up a meeting with Sarah, which is really valuable. And I know that Danny's going to follow up with Scott in terms of putting him in touch with BCHA. So hopefully there can be a positive resolution for what sounds like a family having a very tough time. But thank you all for being here today. It was genuinely a really good experience.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me.
everyone.
Thanks, Nica. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.